On this episode of the Coach's Clinic, brought to you by MaxEffortMuscle.com, I just learned a shitload from D'Angelo Smith. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, just a couple big takeaways. One for me was just the authenticity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you see a guy who's comfortable in his own skin, and it's earned. That's an earned.
Yes.
You know, that's not just someone like acting. Like his life has put him in a situation to be authentic. That's one. And then two, I think my biggest takeaway was how you embrace change, how he embraces change. I mean, it's I think so many people, as you get older, you start talking about how bad kids are nowadays, but he said, "Oh no, social media, I love it."
People, I love that answer.
Every coach talks recruiting. I hate recruiting. No, I love recruiting. You know, what I mean? It's just either get with it or get out of the business almost. So, anyways, yeah, just a lot for me to learn, and I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
Trevor. Yeah, this was a special episode for me because I hold OU super close to my
Fanboy.
heart. Yeah, I've been going to games since I was 2 years old with my dad, and it was just cool to see kind of the other side of that because we've been fans for so long. Now it's cool to see you get like an inside peek of it.
Yeah, D?
And I think for any, especially any young coach out there that kind of in their mind sees himself as a player's coach, D'Angelo is the ultimate player's coach.
Facts.
So I think there's going to be a lot. I mean, I even learned a lot kind of about my approach with my athletes. So I think that's going to be something all the young coaches out there are going to be able to take away, kind of the way they can, deal with their athletes and really instill confidence in them.
Yeah, an amazing episode. So let's roll the show. All right, welcome to another episode of the Coach's Clinic podcast. Our coaching staff is
right.
Mike Deegan, Tyler Treadway, Coach Dustin Myers. I'm your boy Corey G. And today we have D'Angelo Smith. So, Ohio University, drafted in the 5th round, was a Cowboy.
Amen.
We got, man, it's like we can talk about, it's just like Coach Angle, right? Talk about making it to the league, talk about coaching these young men. Like, man, I'm really glad to have you on the show today.
I'm glad to be here, man. I'm really looking forward to talking with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start early on, right out the gate. Like, obviously you played college ball at Cincinnati. It's like, but where'd you grow up? Did you know that there was like that was a possibility? When did you kind of know like this? I got some pop here. Like this might be in the cards for me.
Yeah, I'll stay. Started on the south side of Columbus. That's where I grew up. Barrack Recreation Center.
Mm-hmm.
Started
Where'd you go to high school?
Independence.
Okay.
And I started out boxing, honestly, right. But then this one coach came up and grabbed me. He's like, "Hey man, come play some football." I'm like, "All right, let me see what it's about." So the Mohawk Raiders was out there off of Livingston and right there, Livingston and Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's children's hospitals.
Yep.
Their deal. So it pretty much started on the south side of Columbus, and then next thing you know, it was something that I liked, and my dad was kind of pushing me and making me work hard for everything I had to do. So he was into going to the Arnold Classics. And all that. He was in lifting contests. He still got those little, I want to say, bronze trophies that you got hanging up in the
So you were around that early then.
Yes. So
love that.
I always had that hard work and dedication a part of me. So that was the fun part about it. And then as I started to get good and I knew I was good at it, it just came second nature.
When does that hit where it's like, wait, I could probably go, get my education or paid for by this type of thing? Was it early or was that later in your high school?
I would say middle school.
Okay.
Starting because middle school I was playing for the Eastland Vikings, which was on more of the east side. But then, you start seeing your competitive spirit come out. So you start playing against other teams. And other teams, they got guys that's good too. And, you always competing against them. It's like, all right, my confidence just started growing and growing and growing. So then next thing you know, I'm like, I can do this. So
yeah, then you start believing like another
scholarships.
level.
My dad started talking scholarships and all this. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna easily get
to
that.
be wanted. So I never got recruited to play anything. To be wanted has to be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, when I first got that offer, it was like, oh wow, this is real.
This is real.
And I'm, now I'm like, all right, I want to go for the top. I wanted Ohio State.
Yeah.
I wanted, those big schools, but since it came along, and it was all she wrote.
Who was the coach at Cincinnati?
Mark D'Antonio and Brian Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Played for two studs.
Yeah. Yep.
And Cincinnati's culture was really starting to come around then too, right? Like it was starting to really they were starting to really be about. Because we was down there, no one even went to the football games. D.
No, I went there my freshman year. Lived in Calhoun, and I remember they would give us free tickets. You know, you can see the stadium from my dorm room, and we wouldn't even go.
Yeah.
We would just play James Bond in the dorm room
no
or
one
whatever.
was really messing
There
with
was no
football.
football culture there at the time.
No.
Yeah, now it's amazing.
I wouldn't say we started it, but you could see it. Once
It started
Coach
to
D
The sea changed.
Yeah.
started turning and the wheels started going, and then I would say once we beat Rutgers, they was like number 7 in the country, and that's honestly what got me going. Like I took a pick to the crib. It was 86 yards.
I've seen that highlight.
I play that every time when I get a chance, but. You know, it's just glad to see them doing well now, and you know, it's amazing to see, especially when your alma mater is doing good.
Of course,
like amazing.
Well, I'm a big Zach Caleros fan. That's my guy because we're from the Valley. So you know, I was back in the day at the old company. We were sponsoring the Ticats when he was there, and then now he's kind of resurged again, MVP of the league or whatever, 2 Grey Cups, and like he's from where we're from, so that's like one of the things like we're always showing love. I'm just super proud of that guy. He's killing it.
Yeah, Zach was always cool, man, and you know he's always down to earth. You know, came from the Big Red.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So it's like, you know,
Were you guys there at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I know Zach real well.
Okay,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. I was
And
picking
Travis
him off.
Kelce then too.
I was picking him off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was picking him off. That's cool. Well, I know you love talking about the dream of making it to the big time, Coach. So take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, your NFL experience. I mean, when you know, it's kind of cool. You go from Southside Columbus, you start hitting it off there, you go to Cincinnati. When did you see that NFL as a real possibility, and what was that like?
Well, I had uncles that played. So my uncle Pepper Johnson, he played at Ohio State. Roger Harper.
No big deal. Bang! Okay.
Now we're starting to see.
Fade away.
Roger Harper, and then I had an uncle that played baseball, Marquise Grissom, and you know.
Oh yeah.
as you
So
get
like
a-
we always say, it wasn't in the genetics
This
for us.
motherfucker. He like, yeah, my uncle.
The
Marquise
lineage.
Grissom. I think I'm pretty sure I have a couple of his baseball cards. That's amazing. Continue.
Nah, it's just once I saw them doing it, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I need to work to get where I want to be, and the NFL was, you know, where I wanted to be. And then next thing you know, growing up, the Cowboys was winning, and so you had Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, you know, Nate Newton, Larry Allen. Jay Novacek, Daryl Johnson. I can name all these cats off, but I end up, as the draft came, I end up getting a call from Jerry Jones.
So Jerry Jones actually called you.
Called me. Hey,
Keep
it's
going.
like, you want to
be.
it's like, you want to be a Cowboy? I'm like, yes. So then,
That's one of them like pinch me.
Oh,
I mean, like, is this
dude.
real?
Yeah, it was a dream come true, man. And it was like, dang, I'm going to the team that I grew up liking.
That's
you know,
crazy.
And it was just
And that doesn't
amazing.
happen very often.
Nah, man. I remember it to this day, just sitting on the couch at my grandma's house, and call comes across. I'm like, I don't recognize this number. Let me.
Wait, you didn't have Jerry Jones saved your phone?
Yeah. You didn't have him locked in, D'Angelo?
Right. So at the combine, though, that was the only team I really like met with. I met with some other teams, but like sat down, go through plays.
So
and
you got
all that.
invited to the combine, though,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
is also a big deal.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
a lot of guys that think they're going to get the invite and don't.
Yep.
Okay.
And that was another thing. Like, you see all that stuff on TV, and you go through that process, man, and it's amazing just to experience it.
Yeah, for sure. So I always make fun of, like, I own like 2 little small oil wells, so I call myself Jerry Jones all the time. but what's it actually like being around a guy that was a baller, right? Grinded his way, and then has like had this unbelievable success and loves he loves the guys and the team. And I know he gets some heat from time to time, but what was your experience like as a person, being around Jerry as a person?
Man, it was an amazing experience. Like, I mean, for the most part, he's watching the team.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's
up
about
there.
winning.
He's up there at the top. You're like, okay, I got to do well. But
Yeah.
He ain't really bothering you too much, but he just, he does what he do, man. And he loves to, examine players and just try to get the best players out there. And that was one of the things that, when you see him around, you say hi, you say what's up, but he's about business,
Yeah,
so.
you can feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a billionaire, so
Yep,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Treadway's OU everything, so Treadway, take it away.
Yeah. So this is super cool for me because, like, I've been going to OU games since I was, like, 2 years old. I watched, like, Byron Leftwich play there. All these guys play there when I was young, and my uncle played football at OU as well. So this is a super cool experience, and it's kind of coming back. Like you talked about the blue collar, you know, growing up, you had to earn everything. Going through college, you know, you didn't get to go to Ohio State like you wanted, but you went to Cincinnati. So you're probably dealing with a lot of that at OU. These guys that think, oh, I'm going to go to this Power 5 school, but they end up at OU. What is the thing that you can translate most to them to help them get the most out of their time there?
I think it's more about just the opportunity they can get.
Yeah.
You got the opportunity to show what you have and show what you can prove on this field. The scouts, whoever, they're going to come find you.
Yeah.
You know, you got to just take advantage of what you get and what's in front of you. Like I tell them, man, I always wanted to go to Ohio State, you know, but I didn't. So I seized the moment at Cincinnati. You know, now in coaching, I'm seizing that moment at OU. I'm enjoying my moments there. But just telling the kids, just opportunity, man. Most kids, there's some kids that don't get this opportunity at a D1, you know, at college. So I just tell them, take advantage.
If you got game, you got game.
Exactly.
It's just a fact.
And then you just show them guys that coming out of the MAC in general. You show them guys that coming out of OU that made it. You know, Travis Carey, Terrell Basham. You know, I can go on and on. Javon Hagan. I can keep going on and on about guys. So, you know, just tell them, hey, as long as you perform on the field, they will find you.
Yep. For a while there, it was like Ben Roethlisberger was one of the best quarterbacks. He came from a school that we won't talk about. It's kind of like the Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
You have Edelman was a quarterback.
Yeah, Kent, right?
Yeah, Kent. And then you have James Harrison,
Josh
Khalil Mack,
Cribbs.
Josh Cribbs,
Yeah.
all these guys coming out of the MAC. So the path is there, but a lot of those guys probably don't connect the dots.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, it's just the opportunities that you get to play against, you know, Big Ten teams. Like, so our non-league games next year are Iowa State, Penn State, FAU, and then there's one more, I forget who it is. But again, those right there prove your worth. If you feel like, hey, I should be at those schools, well, prove it against them and show that you can do what you need to do to get to that next level.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
At the end of the day, no matter where you're at, no matter what your situation is, if you put in the work, your talent's going to shine through. You know, it doesn't matter, and people are going to see it. Absolutely.
I wonder if that would be, from a recruiting standpoint, D'Angelo, like, you don't want to feel like people are settling for where you're at because you know how great it is. So that would be an interesting thing to try to field, I would think, from time to time for you.
For me, I just, you know, I go in there, I just keep it real, man.
Yeah, I like that.
Tell them how it is, and, you know, I ain't selling no wolf tickets or anything like that.
Yeah.
Look, this is what it is.
It's what it
we're
is.
going to work hard, and we're going to grind for it. These are the teams we're going to be playing. Are you ready for those? And then we just got to dominate the MAC.
There it is.
And, you know, keep it as simple. Don't try to make anything up or try to do anything that where you got to back yourself up. Just show what you got. And if some kids like it, they'll come. If they don't, move forward. And there's, you know, a lot of kids want to get recruited. But at the same time, you know, you want the one that's going to fit for your team.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's real good. Talk to me about being in the NFL. What was who? I always like to ask it. Who was the biggest freak show that you either played with or against? Somebody that you was like, I know why this dude's like been in the league 10, or his like athletic ability like actually even wowed yourself, which is a peer. You know what I mean?
One was Jay Joseph. You know, he played cornerback for the Bengals, but he trained with us when I was at Cincinnati. So we always had like Jay Joe. Chad Johnson would come out there and do one-on-ones, but the ones I was with, I would say DeMarcus Ware was one.
Freak.
He just animal, man.
Just another level.
You know, another level. Come in, looks different, looks apart. You like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I wish I had like, you know, a couple more inches, but
Yeah. Because he was
you know,
pretty dominant when you at that point. Obviously, yeah.
You know, and then Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
You know,
One of the
I
best.
played for Detroit for a little bit, but then, you know, going against him in one-on-ones is like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
put some help over the top, coach.
I think he felt like most of the time he was playing against his little brothers anyway.
But,
Besides the physical aspect, is there a mental or a maturity or a consistency that you see in those real consistent high-level guys?
I would just say, you know, they work. You know, it ain't they
They're
got
pros.
the bigger contracts or anything like that. They work. And you can see, all right, that's why he gets paid. That's why
he's great.
Great. You know, that's why you want to get to that point. And not everybody gets to that point. I only played 3 years. So for me, it was just an opportunity to see that and seize that moment. But at the same time, man, those guys, they work. You know, and they still work to this day.
Yeah.
when you can still call them to this day and they say, "Hey, what's up, D? How you doing, man?" But at the end of the day, man, those guys, they always worked hard, and you could see it in the weight room. You could see it. Oh, he's here at 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And he's great.
Right.
Well, yeah, because when you get, work ethic like that plus God-given ability, perseverance on top, I mean, it's like then that's when the real greatness happens. A lot of people think that, he can jump high and run fast.
Right.
He's good. But the dudes that is real great, they got the pop too.
They work for it, man. And every aspect of the game, they work in film, weight room, mental, So everything that comes together, you can see it and you understand why. Okay, that's why this guy is so good at what he's doing.
When did you know you want to be a coach?
Honestly, I didn't. I ended up going up to the CFL in
Where'd you play it up there?
Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my coaches called me and was like, "Hey, man, you want to be a GA?" I'm like, "A GA? What's a GA?" I'm like, "I want to coach. Like, I want to be a position coach. I don't know what a GA is. I never really thought about that." So then he ended up calling. I was like, I'm cool. I'm going to just continue to try to do the CFL thing. And then I ended up getting cut. That's what people don't talk about sometimes. Just being
the check
cut.
stopped.
I've been cut 3 or 4 times. So then I was like, man, all right, what am I doing with my life? What do I want to do to move forward? And I was like, all right, I do want to coach. So I started looking up GA. It was a graduate assistant.
I wouldn't have known either, D'Angelo.
Yeah, to humble yourself, right?
Right. So I'm like, all right, I got to go to school. Oh, man, I just got out of the league. I just got done playing. I don't know if I want to do the school thing again.
Yeah.
Well, my mom was like, well, go get your master's. It's free, right?
Yeah.
They pay for your master's. I'm like, all right, Mom. Like, it's cool. All right, I did that. So I ended up calling him back like, hey, you still got that spot. So this was a week before the first game. And he's still looking for a GA. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to just go I went to UMass.
Okay.
No, let me rewind. So I started at Ohio State when I got cut from the CFL as an intern. I worked for Kerry Combs, and he was my DB coach at Cincinnati.
Okay.
So I did the intern thing. Then after that season, the 2012, they went 12-0. We couldn't go because of the violation.
Yep.
Boom. I ended up just going back to Canada again. So fast forward, ended up getting cut by Canada again. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to call the coach again. Ended up going to UMass. Stayed there for a season. And I just hit up a couple other my coaches, Coach D'Antonio. He was at Michigan State. Hey, Coach, I'm in the game.
Yeah.
I'm GA in here. Let me know if you got a spot opening. If not.
Just networking.
Go. Yeah, networking. So then spring after the 2013 season at UMass, Coach called me and was like, hey, I got a recruiting intern spot open. I'm like, all right, well, I just started my master's. I want to finish that. He's like, well, let's just see how it goes. And, if a GA spot come open, we'll see if you still want it or not. So, boom, fast forward 2 years. I did 2 years at Michigan State, got my master's there. And then, guys will come up and, evaluate our defense. So one of the coaches was Jimmy Burrow.
Okay.
And
awesome
Joe
guy.
Burrow's dad.
I played golf with Jimmy just a month ago or so. Got a chance to meet him.
So
Great.
He's one of my mentors. So
awesome.
I always hit him up pretty much, ask him about anything and advice. But so then that happened. They was coming to visit. I'll show them plays and all that. So then they had a spot come open. As one of my other mentors, Coach Barnett, hey, can you give Coach a call? They got a corner spot open. It was close to home, so it was hour from Columbus and everything else. So it's like, all right, well, let's see if I can try to get this. Yeah. All right, here's the interview process. Boom. Did the interview. I think it was a couple other guys, but then I ended up getting hired by OU, working for Coach Burrow and a couple of other guys. And then after that, I'm still here now. Going on 6 years in February.
Wow.
So you, there's so much we can. And if I could just hop in for a second, so I'm tripping. I'm messed up right now.
Yep.
Okay. I'm watching this coaching carousel go on right now, and I'm like starting to question everything I believe. Mm-hmm. And you've been under some legends of the game. Like you've been around. You just mentioned D'Antonio, Kelly. A lot.
Jimmy Burrow,
like a lot of really good ones. So I guess I just want to ask you, like, what is good coaching to you? Like, what does it look like? Can you just paint a picture of when you see man, this is a great coach. What is that?
One that uplifts you, you know, a coach that uplifts you. All those guys that I either worked for or, you know, been around, they did something where I just kind of plucked, all right, I'm going to take this and add to me. I'm going to take this and add to me. I'm going to take this and add to me.
As a coach or a player now? So
as a coach.
So you're learning from them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then naturally as a player, you just know who they are just because either you've been with them for 2 to 3 years or 2 years, you know. And I had D'Antonio and Kelly for about the same amount pretty much. But for the most part, I just try to pick and choose what they do best and what they do well and try to add it to my game and just try to still be myself. Because at the end of the day, who I am is going to be how I coach, but I just try to pick from those guys of, you know, how they ran their team because they all been successful, you know, and they all
Without, I know you can't give too much, but can you maybe give an example of something that one of those men do well that you've added? Like, can you give me just paint a picture?
Yeah, Coach D'Antonio to start out, man, he's just a guy. He's about people. You know, he's always been about people, and you could go call him up. You know, it's always about the people, and
that's real.
Yeah, that's real.
And you can feel it.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
Coach Kelly came in, took the team over. It's like, you know, he was about us. You know, about the players. Hey, what'd you guys need? Boom, made it happen. Boom, made it happen. So then
he was actually asking for your input as a player.
Yeah, yep. And I was a team captain too. So
okay.
You know, it made it even that much
Slight
better.
flex right there.
Jerry Jones called me. I'm good.
So that's at Cincinnati where he so you like you say you were turning that culture around at that time, and he came to you guys and said, hey, what's it going to take to make?
Yep.
Love that.
And then, you know, and Coach Kelly is, I would say he's very, he could persuade, you know, get people to believe. And shit, all of us believed in that, hey, we can get this done. And then next thing you know, we in the Orange Bowl. We went to the Big East. You know,
it flipped quick once he came down there.
Yeah, yep. And you could just see it from Coach D'Antonio to him. It just all kind of came together. And we was all young when Coach D'Antonio played us. So then once he started playing us and he ended up going to Michigan State, we was already on the rise to a point. So it just stayed.
The timing
and kept
for
going.
Brian was perfect. He just got paid.
Yep.
He just got paid.
Yep. I think he'd do well down there, man.
No question.
He's a serial winner. He
yeah.
from Grand Valley State.
Just a winner.
I saw you.
Straight
he
up.
won a softball championship. He coached softball like
It don't matter.
he just win. Yeah. So
But when he came in, D'Angelo, you just believed probably off the first speech you guys were going to be winners. Was it just like?
I would say we all had some doubt.
Yeah.
But when you start looking at the coaches that coming in, you start looking at, all right, he won there. He won there.
Oh, like the
he
staff
won there.
that he's bringing in.
Yeah,
Got it.
just in general of his track record, it's like,
Sure.
oh, he won.
Yeah.
He won. Okay.
And they're exciting offenses and just the way he operated.
And then the defense was we was already on the rise anyway, so it was just like we just need to score some points.
Yeah.
Boom, and that's all she wrote.
Man.
yeah, I'm messed up because you're seeing. Yeah, you're just seeing. You just don't know what what makes success almost, you know, and it's just, you know, can you go to the NFL? Can you do those things? It's just an interesting time right now when you're looking from a fan standpoint at some of the moves that are going on.
I think just the part of, you know, your team being together, like it doesn't matter what coach is there. It's about the players believing in themselves, I think, in my mind. Because at the end of the day, the players don't change. The coaches do. It's just X's and O's. You going to run a post, run a dig, you going to tackle, can you make plays? And at the end of the day, my motto in my room is don't make excuses, make plays. So,
Yeah.
So
I like that.
So Coach Kelly, you're talking about him, but on the other side of that creates an opportunity for somebody else. And Coach Freeman just got hired at Notre Dame, and they're all talking on ESPN like, oh, he's a player's coach. But I think that term starts to get like a negative connotation, like, oh, he's not a good coach because he's just a player's coach. Now, I went to the rivalry game that OU had this year, and I'm wearing 3 pairs of socks, a hoodie, a jacket, freezing my ass off. Mm-hmm. And D'Angelo was on the sideline in a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. You sent me a picture of him.
It's like 30
You're like, look at
degrees
your boy
outside,
D.
and he's in his T-shirt. And I'm like, that's like the ultimate players coach, but that's not a negative thing. I feel like people feed off of your energy. So, like, do you consider yourself a players coach, and what do you think that entails?
Man, I embrace the player coach.
Yep.
Why not? If you want me to be
Well,
a player
you was a
coach,
player first.
right? But then at the end of the day, you want your guys to believe in you, right?
Absolutely.
So they look at me and they like, "Oh, coach, I see you got the sleeves on." I'm like,
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't got no sleeves. Like I was telling Dustin earlier, like I do my push-ups and curls before I go out there. Now
Yeah.
I got to get my.
You're gonna be on TV.
I got to get that
Love
adrenaline going, so I'm good. So
That's amazing.
Nah, embrace that player coach, man. Like at the end of the day, you want your guys to believe in you, and as long as they believe in you, they'll run through a brick wall for you. So why
Well,
not?
I always feel like one of the most important things for a coach to be able to, connect to the players. And maybe I'm biased because I always train with my athletes.
We are player coaches, bro.
We're player
this
coaches,
is how we
exactly.
got here.
But I'll always say, me and you have trained together off and on for years, whenever you come home or whatever. But I always, I'll see your story in the morning. You'll be in the OU weight room before the team comes in.
Yeah.
So he's in there lifting weights. So how important do you think, aside from the football stuff, how important do you think that is for the players to see you? Because there's some coaches out there that probably don't work out anymore, right?
Yep.
How important do you think that is that they still see you in the weight room grinding and doing everything they're doing?
Man, I think it's just a psychological thing.
Right.
They see it. I could be lifting 2 pounds, but they see me in there working. Oh, coach.
They're
Different
more
respect.
willing to work for you because they know you'll do the same
Exactly.
thing.
And then there's a couple cats wanted to come work out with me. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna be here at 5 a.m. This is during their discretionary period. You can come when you want, but 5 a.m. we going. And I ain't taking it easy either. So they're like, all right, coach, they'll come. They'll come for like 2 days. They're like, I'm enjoying my
good
break.
on that, yeah.
But I think like you just asked, it's just a psychological thing in the way of just if they see it, they believe. If I tell them something, they end up believing, and then naturally it's just hand in hand.
It gives you more credibility with
It's
them.
a separator,
Getting those
dude.
guys to believe in themselves and believe in me what I'm saying. So hopefully, they take it and it grooms them to a point.
So that kind of brings us to a question that's we always ask usually is how you believe you're perceived as a coach. So we get a little bit of insight on what you just said, but like when somebody's talking about Coach Smith, you're not in the room. How do you think that they articulate that?
I think they just know that I'm going to fight for them.
Okay.
Like at the end of the day, like I'm going to fight for them. I'm going to stand up for them, and I'm going to tell them how it is. Like if you're wrong,
It's direct.
you're wrong. And then even in my room, I tell them, look, if you don't tell me anything, I don't know anything. So I can't read minds. You got to think
It's
about
real
it.
open.
I got 8 guys in here. I got to handle 8 different personalities, including myself mentally.
Yeah,
what I
right?
mean? So at the end of the day, I think guys, when I walk out of the room, hopefully they're like, hey, man, Coach Smith, he going to fight for you if you keep it real and you tell him how it is. He going to try to make the best scenario out of anything.
Yeah.
And, I try to just, be myself. I don't try to be nobody else. And, hey, their players want to come talk to me. That's not my problem. I'm just trying to help the situation. I'm trying to be, hey, how can I make our team better? If they all got to come to me, then that I will take that role and
Whatever
I'll
it is.
embrace it. And I'll take it to the full extent.
Authenticity is always the cheat code anyway, man.
Easy, man.
It is. It's easy to be yourself.
Yeah, 'cause
It's hard to be someone else.
Man, you try to,
I think for most people it's the opposite. Honestly, I think for a lot of people, if they lack confidence, being themselves is hard.
Yeah. No,
it's easier for them to pretend.
You're right. It should be. I
It
should have
should be,
said it
yes,
should be
yes.
easier to be yourself is what I
Yes.
should have said.
Yep.
But
For guys like us, it's easy.
Yeah, we've had unbelievable swag forever. I'm not sure where it came from.
Right.
As soon as I saw that first muscle pop out, it's been a wrap since then.
Nice.
But
for you, was it ever? Did you have to find your voice as a coach, or did you immediately just kind of keep your demeanor and?
No, I'm a more of a laid back guy, but then you'll see me on the field. You're like, hold up, that's a new guy right there. But I'm just so into the game because I played the game, and it's like I feel like I'm still playing. And then that other guy come out. I'm like the Hawk almost. That other guy, I wear a suit, but then next thing you know, I'm on the field. I'm like, oh, let's go. But at the end of the day, I think I don't think so.
Well, that's how you still get to compete and win is through your guys.
Yes.
Because you can't suit up anymore,
Yep.
but you get to suit up through them.
And we do like challenges during practice where I'll do 1-on-1s.
hell yeah.
But hey, I'm doing it from a 15-yard line.
Yeah.
And I ain't doing the 20-yard and throw a bomb on me. Nah.
Yeah.
But I can guard you with this small space.
the fact that it's just in you, right? Like you can't, it's just like kind of lifting is for me. Like I can't get it out, right? It's just what I am. It's what I do. Like that's why I always tell people like that might be your hobby or something that you do, but that's not this is what I do all the way deep. Is football has always felt that way to you, D'Angelo? Is that why you're still in it, obviously?
Yep. And then just even like you said,
Lifting
and football, it goes hand in hand.
For sure.
I always just see myself as a competitor. So if anybody's ready to challenge me, I'm ready to go. I don't even care if I'm out of shape. Like if I haven't took a week off, let's go then. Let's race. Like, let's go lift. Let's go pound for pound.
Having that still represented in your life is a lot.
Yeah. And it's like my dad, he's just turned 55, man. And you'll look at him, you'll be like, okay. This cat doing
Put together
10 sets of 10 sets of 10 on leg squats. I'm like, man, I ain't doing this.
Out here doing the German volume training still.
like, how are you still doing this? And he getting low and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, okay. All right, I gotta continue to better myself because if I don't, he's gonna pass me, and then I'm like, I can't have that.
It goes to show that from a parent, right? You're trying to display that for your kids, and your dad obviously did that your whole time growing up. So that's just what it is. That's the expectation. That's what you know.
Yep.
And so then you're following suit, had success, and it's just good to hear because I feel like we're trying to display similar things as parents, right? That discipline and that consistency and that, I mean, if that's just what that's the norm.
Yes.
That was your norm.
Yes. And that's where, my son, we'd wake up every morning. He's like, hey, you make your bed? He's like, oh, man, I forgot. Go make his bed. He's like, let's go work out. I got him a little kid set. He's down there doing
awesome.
Push-ups, dips, and all that stuff. But it's funny because it's just, you create that stuff at a young age. And I'm not even forcing it on him. He just naturally now, he's just like, hey, Dad, I didn't make my bed. Okay, boom. Go make his bed. Hey, let's go work out because that's my routine. And he'd come downstairs, he'd see it, and now he wants to do it, and now he wants to be a part of it. So it's just
You just made me feel like a bad dad. I'm thinking about my kid's room right now. We got some work to do.
Hey, I don't think I've ever made my bed.
Hey, so how do you balance this? So you just hit on something that's really important to me. You mentioned that you're in at 5. Is that pretty regular?
yeah, for me, yeah.
And look, there's some stress with these jobs. I know you're pretty laid back guy. You can kind of feel that, but balancing family, Division I football, coaching, which is demanding, time intensive. Can you talk a little bit about the balance and how you try to weigh all that together?
I mean, I just take one day at a time, honestly, but I just know who I am and what I perceive that, hey, I know I'm going to wake up at 5 because that's what I've been doing since football. Like even start NFL, college, you start morning workouts. You got to be there at 6 a.m. So it never got really out of me. But then as a coach, you still got to be in early. Got to break down the film. You got to start on the next team sometimes when you're in the middle of the week because you got to be ready for the next team. And then, it's just like for our rival, like it was Miami of Ohio at Cincy. So at the end of the day, we knew we had to beat those guys no matter what. Like here at Ohio State, probably, it's the team up north. So at the end of the day, for me, I knew I was always a morning person, so it didn't really faze me to continue to do it. There are some days I'd be like, man, I wish I can sleep in, but at the end of the day, I just always kept that grind, and I always feel like I'm the underdog in everything I do.
Yeah, I'm interested because I may ask that question to another coach, and they you can feel like their nerves and their you don't seem to have that. Like you seem to be very comfortable in your own skin, and this is who I am, and this is.
I just know it's a part of coaching, hiring, firing, and moving forward, and it just as a player, if you want to transfer now, you can transfer. If you want to go to NFL early, and the coach saying, "Hey, come back," you can do that. I respect the game as it changes because the game evolves, every year, every decade, however you want to look at it. But you can't just be stuck on that. What was in the past because everything is moving forward and it's not going to stop because of you. So I just try to embrace it and try to, put these kids in the best situation they can be.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your approach. Yeah.
He's also felt every situation most, right? And I think that helps a lot, right? So if you've been the guy that got called by Jerry Jones, you walked out and saw the star in the middle of the field.
Yep.
You've been, and then you've seen coaching changes.
And
you've been around.
You've
been cut, and that knew the dream was over at a point, had to go to GA route. So I think when you've been on all sides of it,
Yep.
you probably have a different as a player and now as a coach, right? And
Yep.
and I think that's just my perception, but it probably has a lot to do with it.
No, it does, because honestly, when you go through something, at first when I got cut, I'm like, man, y'all cutting me? Why?
Yeah. Hey, no one thinks they're second.
We're moving forward. We're moving
Yeah.
forward with this. Why though? I'm like, the first time I cried.
Of course.
Honestly, I'm like, why are they cutting me, man? You know,
Because you can't believe it.
yeah, and so then got it cut second time. And then I was only at the team for like 2 days. So I'm like, all right, why did I get cut? Like, look,
Different
come on.
voice,
Yeah.
So then
They didn't even give me a chance.
Right. Then a couple guys just sat down. Like, man, sometimes it's just, it may not even be you. It may be another position that got hurt. You the last guy in. You probably going to be most likely the first guy out. Or vice versa. Hey, you don't fit what we have. So then
A lot of
move
it's
forward.
situational.
So then it just, it started happening. I'm like, man, all right, what am I doing? Am I becoming a body on a team, or am I coming to be a part of this team? And that's when you get to the NFL, you notice, like, all right, this is a business. College, you can kind of groom yourself to a way, and they can't really cut you unless you do something else, like, out of the ordinary. So for me, as I was going through these processes and understanding, I'm like, okay, all right. I need to start thinking about my next career. I need to start thinking about my next move. So then I just kind of embraced those, being cut, understanding like it's not me. So I don't want to get down on myself mentally, but at the end of the day, I just try to, move forward with everything that I had going,
Appreciate
in front of me. So
Sure way.
Yeah, so to kind of shift gears and talk about where you're at right now with OU, you guys are kind of like one of the best schools in the MAC every year, and it has been there for a while. But before, a couple of decades ago, they were terrible. So what changed? What culture do you guys promote, and what's the biggest reason for the success that the program has had?
it's like I told you, it's about the people. At the end of the day, it started with Coach Solich, and what he brought from Nebraska, and his time as a coach. But he set that program up to be successful. And once he retired this past year, he kind of embraced those called rise up. That's the mantra. So that I would say it's just this season has humbled us in a way of you see the other side. When you went in for 10, 15 plus years, it makes you realize, all right, where you at as a team and where you at, roster wise, where you at as a coach, and how can you get better and how can you be better next year? Because, if you're not winning, at the end of the result, you're going to get fired. And some people, they blindly don't want to see that, but in my back of my mind is like, if I don't perform, I'm out of here. If you don't perform as a player, you're going to still be here. So I got to try to embrace those moments of getting these guys to believe where they can be and where they want to get to. So I try to treat it in my room as a NFL room. Hey, I call NFL guys. I have them FaceTime in. I let them see, let them talk to the guys to let them know, like, when you get to that next level, it's real deal. You ain't going to be getting baby. You ain't going to be getting pampered. But at the end of the day, with OU is just embracing that winning tradition, man. And that's what we're about, is embracing that winning tradition and getting back to that. Because when 1 year of losing feels like 10 years.
Yep.
And it sucks. I'll tell you that.
It's that recency. Like, so when you're winning, everything's good, everyone's happy, everyone's eating. But then you have a losing season and you feel like the whole world's falling apart. So how hard is it to protect that winning culture and to keep that going and to keep everybody's eyes forward?
I would say it's just, getting guys to believe in the team. It ain't just about I. There's a lot of guys that want to be about I. And, as they say, there is no I in team, right? Yeah. So there is a me, though.
Yeah, that's what Kobe said.
But so, it's just getting the kids to believe in the culture, man. The culture. If those guys can't believe in the culture, then it's going to be a shaky team. If everybody's on the same page, we all turn in the same way and not going back, then we all will be successful in the way.
Do you see that happen? Like, do you see like, oh, this guy's all about I, but he's too good to take him off the field and things like that? Like, do you know that it's not going to work?
You see it, but there's, sometimes there's some guys you gotta feed him the rock.
Yeah.
He's one of the best players. So there's that line of guys there you do have on the team that all right, he's a hothead, or he's hot to the point of he wants the ball all the time, or he ain't getting enough reps, or why you take me out for 10 plays. Guys mentally, man, they go through these processes, especially when you have your exit meetings and you understand like how guys think. You're like, are you serious? Like, then you, as a coach, you just gotta just try to embrace those moments of each kid and try to just say, look, we're gonna get to that point where you're there, but again, look at this kid right here, and I just try to show him the film. The eye in the sky don't lie. Are you playing better than this kid right now? Let's watch the film, side by side. Well, come on now. Let's keep it real, right? This is what you about. This is what you always post, keeping it real, right?
Right.
Try to put it back in their hands to make them. Hey, you talk about keeping it real here. Let's
you'll entertain that and sit down and show.
Yep. Why not?
Yeah, of course.
Now it's in their hands. So
yeah.
This is like a man up moment, you know what I mean?
I got everything to back it up. Now, if I ain't had nothing to back it up, then I'm like, all right, well, you giving them that runaround to a point. And it's like, well, just put the film on. He ain't giving up no sacks in practice. Are you? I'm gonna play him right now. You getting there though? I'm gonna still, you got to still uplift them, but
sure.
Right now, just be patient. And most kids, most people want that instant gratification to where they don't want to work for it. It's like, nah, we ain't making instant oatmeal right now. This is a process, man. You may be ready year 2, year 3. Because even for me, I wasn't ready to go until my redshirt sophomore year.
Got it.
Redshirt, pretty much redshirt sophomore year at the end. But did I want to play? Yeah. And I felt like I was better than other guys? Yeah. But then when I start seeing a bigger picture, I'm like, okay. All right. I started running the Cincy stairs like every week. Like I was killing it. Like I was really working to get to where I wanted to get to.
Got it.
So I think that's such a good strategy that you set them down and show them, because I think I would have to – I never played football, but I would have to imagine when you're on a team like that where you have a deep roster and a lot of it's subjective of who plays, it has to be hard for a kid not to take it personal if they had playing time and then it gets taken away. But if you set them down and show them, and it's like, all right, the film don't lie. Here's what he's doing. Here's what you're doing. It's going to be much harder for them to take it personal.
Exactly.
Well, everybody's a stud in their high school too.
Yeah.
So that's a hard transition when now somebody's beating you. When you're used to getting the rock every other play, having all these yards, doing whatever it is, that would be tough.
And that's what's crazy about this transfer portal, man. This, some kids you just wish they would just wait it out a little bit. But at the end of the day, like I said, they want to play now. And they may be ready to play now, but not just yet, And some of the kids, you'll look at that transfer portal, and it's a bunch of young kids. And they're going to places – I don't want to say they're going to places that, not better than us or any. I don't want to degrade anybody, but it's just, you could just wait your turn. This kid is graduating. You're next in line.
You don't give yourself a long enough runway, right? Like
exactly.
You just got to let that thing play out.
And that's getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they don't change it a little bit, I believe they are, but, with kids being able to jump in so early, you put your team at risk too. There's some kids that's not ready to be out there. So you're putting your best QB at risk, or you're putting your best DB at risk to lose that confidence. You're putting guys at risk to where, naturally kids are going to be like, I'm out of here. And they can leave at the 4th game. And, this next kid is not ready just yet, but, he'll get it done. But you just know it's going to be.
But he really needed that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, you hit on something I just want to just circle back to real quick, because I think it's so important right now, those one-on-one meetings. I feel like back in the day you could just kind of shout a message out to 8 people, 10 people, the whole team. But now I feel like kids want that.
You have those too, Mike?
Oh, tons.
Yeah.
We've shifted. We go a lot of individual meetings now, because I just think it's important. So could you, behind the closed doors, I come in, like what's one of your one-on-ones look like? I know it's going to be different at different times of the year, but just give me a little approach to that.
So one I would have is I don't even close my door, because it's just transparency. Like, I don't have nothing to hide. He's going to hear it anyway. He's going to hear it anyway. He's going to hear it anyway.
Anything we're going to talk about, people can hear right now.
I'm all so the way I run my corner room is, even the grades come out yesterday. Hey, post your grades in the chat. Post your grades in the chat. Y'all post everything else in here. Post them grades in there. So one of my meetings, I'll go. As the season goes, I have a CQ cut up, and it's called Clinic Quality. You're gonna make it on my clinic tape, So then I have positives, and then I have the negatives. We'll sit down. I'll bring out the sheet that they made preseason. Hey, these are my goals. Let's talk to them. At the end of the season, did you reach any of these goals? Boom. Then we'll watch the film. Tell me what you see, and I'll tell you what I saw. So I let them talk first. Just try to let them know, hey, you are in control of this meeting, not me,
So the more real they are, the better off they're going to be, right?
Exactly. So if I start out, hey, you didn't do this, naturally, a kid just going to start, feeling, let them express themselves. Because then at the end of the day, once you start, going through your deal, it'll be more real to them in my mind. So start with that. I have their goal sheet. I have my opinion, what they see and what they don't see, and then we just talk like, hey, what do you see yourself this coming spring, fall? What are your expectations? And then I'll tell them, hey, these are my expectations. I don't expect you to start, but I expect you to get some reps. I expect you to probably get 20 to 30 plus reps. I try to keep my corners fresh, just so naturally they can play, feel good, and play good at the end of the day. And then at the end of the meeting, I'll just let them know, hey, this is where you at on the roster. This is where I see you. I think you got full potential at the end of the day, but you got to believe that, and you got to perform on the field. And then that's pretty much it.
You're like a corner man in boxing a little bit, right?
Yep.
You're trying to break some things down and then give them a little direction, a little encouragement.
Yep.
And then the other thing I was going to ask you off that is, I guess how often is the gap between that person, being a starter or whatever, physical, or how much of it is just approach and mentality and maturity? Like, where do you usually see the gap with kids?
Some of it is more mental.
Yeah.
These kids, you going to school, girlfriends, social media, telling them you're better than what you're doing. It's a lot of things going on that in their mind that they're trying to process. To me, I just try to get them to understand, hey, look, right now, this is where you at. This is where I see you.
Mm-hmm.
So
kill the noise and just
let's stay here, one-on-one, me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ain't talking to nobody else. I'm talking to you. This is where I see you. This is where I need you to be. So I always just try to give them that high point of, this is where you're going to be, and this is where you got to work to get to. Mm-hmm. And most kids in my room, if you talk to them, they would say I'm pretty honest and up forward with them to a point, and I take care of my guys, man. And if you take care of your guys, it's naturally they're gonna naturally take care of you.
Appreciate it.
Social media plus are a problem.
I say it's a plus.
Yeah.
It brings out everything, honestly. I try to embrace, like I said, the evolution of everything.
Yeah, you're a glass half full guy. So.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to be stuck in this way. I'm not trying to, hey, this technique is not what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you feel is better? Let's try it. All right. If you're getting toasted, you know where you're going to be, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be over
we
here.
Can see that.
You're going to be over here with me.
Yeah.
But if not, we're going to go back to my deal. All right, coach, cool. All right. Boom.
Yeah.
Let them feel they have ownership, man. Everybody want to be their own CEO, right? So at the end of the day, as long as they feel they have some type of voice, let them have that, because then at the end of the day, it naturally ends up coming back to you anyway.
Yeah. He's a master of, I think, setting it up. So he really gets what he wants anyway. Yeah. But once again, it's better when it's quote unquote their idea, or they can uncover it. You're not uncovering it for them. Right. So I love the approach.
This
man.
is my way.
Yeah,
we're going to do it this way.
Yeah, because everyone turns down on that.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't trying to really do this. But when it's like you're allowing them to grow through the process, is really good coaching, bro.
And that's where I try to hey, you come up with a drill this week. Because all my drill, I try to if it's not on the film, I'm not trying to have you out here doing the 360 turn around, back circle, backflip, and then coming back to nah. We're going everything I'm gonna apply is gonna be on the film. So if I see you doing something on the film, all right, so I'm gonna add this. Hey, let's take this clip, let's add it to our drill tape, and then hey, you can match it. You can match it up with them on the field and in practice and what they're going to do for the summer.
Awesome.
So I want to peel it back for a second. All right. I want to take it back to D'Angelo as a competitor, as a player back in the day. And I'm going to take it back even before that because you guys might have missed this. But at the beginning, you said the love was boxing before football. All right. Now, you and I have worked out together a lot over the years. And we actually boxed this summer for the first time. Now keep in mind, everyone I've ever at least hit the bag with, at least 90% of them will tell you, oh, yeah, I boxed before. And you never know what that means. Usually that means, yeah, my cousin had a heavy bag hanging in the barn and we punched it a few times. And that's, I boxed. But anyway, you came out and we're getting ready to do the mitts or something. And you're like, yeah, I boxed before. And I'm thinking, okay, well, and I'm starting to show you stance or something. You're like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, all right, we'll see. You hit the mitts. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's boxed before. So you can always tell someone that's done it, even if it's been 25 years since you've done it. If you have a base in it, you understand how to transfer your weight. You know how to punch. So I knew right away that you had boxed before. And then we talked a little bit about the rec centers or whatever. So talk about that maybe growing up, how old were you when you were boxing down at Barrick?
I would say 8 or 9.
So I think
real young.
Yeah, so I always think if you grow up, whether it's boxing, wrestling, doing some type of combat sport like that, other situations aren't going to scare you. If you're used to, squaring up with your friends and you guys are going to punch each other, or you got to put your toe on the line, I'm going to try to grab his head and put him onto the ground, then obviously maybe football, basketball, these other situations aren't going to feel as serious. So maybe talk about that a little bit, about how that kind of shaped your mentality as a football player, being a boxer first.
I think just that physical aggression, kind of, you got to, you dodging and moving. And, for me, I didn't know that I really liked boxing until I started doing it. But then, once I started playing those other sports, boxing was just in tackling and, like you said, just that physical aspect of boxing and, putting it all together. I think I got more athletic because I was boxing,
Right.
So for me, it was just that drive of boxing. And then, we used to have little matches against Blackburn, pretty much the rec centers on the
Thompson.
side. Yep.
These are the OG boxing spots, right?
Yeah.
We used to go to Blackburn and spar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it kind of made me become more confident in myself.
Right.
It was just me,
Yeah.
If I didn't do anything, if I didn't try to defend myself, I was going to get my ass kicked. And excuse my language, but
oh yeah, I think being a DB might be the same way, bro.
Exactly, because you on the island by yourself.
yourself.
So at the end of the day, boxing just made me more I would say elusive to my position that I was playing.
Well, and I would think from a mental standpoint, being out there on the island, you're not going to get rattled because you're used to being on an island with another 9-year-old from the neighborhood next door, and you guys are squared up and fighting in front of the whole rec center.
And naturally, in my neighborhood, we was fighting all the time. So it kind of even, hey, you come box with us. Hey, you come in here. And, our coach, our rec center guy, Mr. Dawkins, he would come. Hey, y'all get in here. Y'all want to fight? We're gonna put y'all in the boxing ring.
Right.
So then naturally, it was all right, here we go.
And I'm thinking this is crazy. This is where my mind's going too, though. Even when people are wolfing on the football field, there's got to be a quiet confidence going. If this thing really breaks out, I'm all right here because I know how to handle myself. Does that even resonate at all?
No, it does because one of my corner that I play with, Mike Mickens, he's one of my best friends. He's Notre Dame's corner coach, so it was just me and him on the other side, and he's he was the talker, but I was that silent assassin. You said something to him, y'all better watch it because it's just it's that 1-2 combo. But for the most part, it was just I would say that confidence that you built being out there on the island, but at the same time that trash talking, that that confidence when you make a play on a guy and you make that interception and you look at that guy like, yeah, come back, bring it back.
Love it.
Don't make me take it back to the rec center on
It's
you.
gonna happen.
Hey, look, because
It's gonna happen again.
And even internally, though, right? There's the locker room. I mean, but you can stand up though a little bit. You can walk in there with your chest out, knowing that you're good. I think there's something about that.
At the end of the day, real confidence goes all facets. When
through
you
the
build
roof.
it through being a kid, through being a player, now a coach, I think those kids feel that on you. I think it's the way that you even approach things is in a confident manner. Like some people take people that are a little bit more low key or nonchalant, that they're not serious about what they do. Right. But you're extremely serious. You're just getting to it in a different way, which has obviously been super beneficial to your coaching style. So I respect the hell out of it. It don't have to come in some like crazy football maniac type of.
Exactly.
It's there
Right.
if it's needed, I'm sure.
And that's where, honestly, it plays a part in these kids, because some kids they don't want to be yelled at, man. Like,
No, I would
and
say
that's
most
where-
of them probably don't.
Yeah, and that's where the players coach come. Oh yeah, I'll embrace the players coach. I'm gonna take this kid. Hey, look, I need you to step it up. Hey, get back out there. I ain't taking you out.
Yeah.
Now, if it happens again, 1, 2, 3, hey, coach, I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's where I get that
Healthy
hey,
challenge.
I got you, coach. All right, cool. Boom, and he goes back out there and he makes a play, and he's like, "Hey, coach, I appreciate you, man. Like,
That's cool.
I wasn't trying to be getting yelled at, but at the same time, I appreciate the approach that you gave me."
I love it. I think could be some young coaches learn a ton from this style in general. That's good. The talk about aspirations ongoing. Obviously, you've been in the game now for a while as a DB coach. Like to be a defensive coordinator, head. Like where do you see yourself?
Definitely want to be, defensive coordinator. Definitely want to be a head coach.
Yeah, yeah.
As you see, a lot of guys and a lot of, when you look at some of the guys my age and their head coaches, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I definitely just kind of wait my turn. But at the same time, I want to progress to be a D coordinator and a head coach. So
Yeah, I just want to get it out there in the universe.
yep. Exactly.
Hey, when you say it, now it's more real.
I've been,
You know what I mean?
hey, I've been speaking craziness for years, bro.
Yep,
That's
yep.
Dustin. It definitely it helps it. I'm telling you.
The more you say it, the more come to fruition. So
Well, you believe that you're going to be.
Yep.
That's how I always was, too. I believe that all these things was possible and would happen.
Yep.
Just time involved.
time and just embracing that time too.
What would be your approach to hiring a staff? Like, so D coordinator, do you have an approach? It's a lot like building a team, I guess, in some ways, right? Have you put any thought into that or not really?
No, definitely. You always, I have a board that some of my guys that I either coach with or work with, I just write their name down and
Throw
just
mine
kinda,
on there, would you?
Yeah, I got.
I got low key skills there.
Hey, as long as you get your guys to believe,
Mm-hmm.
you can be a great coach or you can be whatever you want to be. In my mind, again, you're controlling, you're handling, 18, sometimes 17 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
And now to the point where, these kids, they have a voice. And if you don't believe that they have a voice, then your room's going to be probably shaky. Because, again, I'm all about empowering. If you can empower this guy, he's going to empower the next guy. And then the guy that's coming in next, he's going to empower him. And then next thing you know, we got 10, 20 guys. And then next thing you know, the whole team is like, okay, yeah, mm-hmm. I'll run through a wall for Coach Smith, or I'll run through a wall for whoever. I'll run, it's just, I'm all about that empowerment of these kids, understanding that mentally, if they don't have it, then they won't get it. Mm-hmm. And you could try to pour into these kids as much as you want, but if they don't believe it when they leave out of there,
don't matter.
Yeah, you wasted your time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lot stemming from D'Antoni.
Yep.
That's what. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that's what you said first. He's about the people.
Yep.
And that's been your whole MO this entire time. So that makes sense.
Yep.
And as a player, you feel like you matter is different than just having like a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different thing.
Because they got to go out there and perform, not a coach.
Yeah.
And if y'all watch Dion a lot, man, you got the show and all that stuff. He's just the empowerment of these kids that he's showing them that he can provide for them. Yeah, he's Dion, but at the same time, he gives them, that it's about you. It ain't about me. Like, I'm just here to help.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
and-
putting a light on everybody.
Exactly.
He just got that big recruit too.
Is he going to disrupt things? You think a little bit? You think he'll disrupt?
He is.
Yeah, why
It's,
not?
it's already going on. Like
Yeah.
it's already.
His whole life is a
Yeah,
disruption.
right,
That's
right,
why I love.
right.
I've always loved Dion.
Yep. Again, he's just embracing them. You know, hey, this is something where you can show, because even at the black colleges, you know, they you got Walter Payton, you know, you got, I can name guys, you know, Jerry Rice, you know, Terrell Owen, you know, I can name guys that came from there, but at the same time, I think with this new, with the NLI stuff, you know, kids can get paid pretty much, so you can get paid anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, with Dion having all his marketing stuff,
Oh yeah, locked up with Barstool. I mean,
Right.
he's putting a
Yeah.
bit,
you know,
just
you
a huge
getting
light
stuff.
on it.
So it's just, even like working for Coach Alvin, it's like, you know, he empowers you to get these kids to believe, and, you know, being able to show them that, hey, you know, if you believe in yourself, then naturally everything else will work out.
Yeah.
If you follow the tools that, you know, Coach is giving you, it'll work out.
It's awesome. The recruiting, is recruiting feel like you're an entrepreneur? Because that's what it feels like to me on the outside, like that it never stops. The phone's always ringing. There's no days off. I mean, does that sound about accurate?
It never stops, but it's what you make of it. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
I'm
you like
enjoying
it.
it.
Okay.
So like, I've been through the process. I understand it. Like, they just want the honesty. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this is what we have to offer you. You know, it's not, you know, you're not at the Power 5, but again, we're going to be playing those Power 5s.
Yeah.
So again, just showing, I embrace the recruiting part because I love getting the kid to understanding where I'm coming from, and then, hey, this is what we have to offer you here at OU, and this is what, you know, what can we provide to help you educational wise, or sports wise. You're going to get the same thing. It's X's and it's and O's. You want to go against the best, we're going to play them. You know, this is our non-league conference games. These are our conference games. You're going to be on ESPN. We're going to play on Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights where you can have
the only game
have
on,
the
too.
TV by yourself pretty much. And, you know, I just try to – the recruiting part, I love it, you know. And
Once again, you went through it personally. I
Yeah.
think there's so much value
you
in
know,
that.
and just try to – I love the recruiting, honestly, man. It's, you know, if you got a good area too, if you know, where a lot of kids are coming out of there, you shouldn't do wrong, honestly.
Yeah.
Now it's just picking the guy that's probably going to outperform himself and, you know, raise your level of the room.
Back to you, Coach.
I'm good, man. I've learned a lot.
I've learned a lot, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Treadway?
I'm good. I learned a lot. It was great to have you on.
Yeah.
D?
I mean, this is the first time we've talked about anything except for weightlifting and rap music. So, I mean, I feel like I've gotten to know you on a whole different level
Well,
now. Gotten to know you as a coach now,
This
you know?
is why I love podcasting, though. I've ran past D'Angelo in the gym how many times, but now we'll be I'll
When
feel
would we-
completely different because we ain't got to sit down and have this
Yeah,
conversation.
when would
right?
we ever sit down for an hour and talk about coaching? We never would.
No,
You know?
that's why when you can segment it down like this and you know you're about to grab real stuff, value for the people listening and for your own growth, right?
Yep,
Just hearing
exactly.
yourself say, yeah, I'm going to be a D coordinator.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to be head coach. Just bring us in to speak sometime, you
Yep.
know?
I mean, I was actually sitting here thinking about how I handled like trying to help my daughter write her homework last night. And I'm like, man, maybe I should have made her feel like it was more her choice picking the
Yeah.
time. Like I honestly, that was going through my head. I'm
And
like,
I was
man,
thinking, like, should I make my bed?
You're going to wake up in the morning
Oh,
like, "Say, make your
man.
bed."
Yeah, jeez. Now, hey, this
Nah.
was a great show. Make sure you guys share it with your friends. D'Angelo, where can they find you on social media? What's your handle?
D-Lo Pick 6 on IG.
Of course.
The Big Six.
And D-Lo 614 on Twitter.
All right,
So,
beautiful.
yeah, and I appreciate y'all having me. I appreciate y'all letting me be in the gym. And
For sure.
I do want to grind with each and every one of y'all at one point before
Yeah.
I go back.
Well, I'll tell you what, this was, I learned a ton. I love the approach. Obviously, it's been successful and just continued success, man. And thanks for coming on the show.
Yep, appreciate y'all.
All right, Coach's Clinic, make sure you share it with all your friends. I'm your boy, Corey G, Mike Deegan, Tyler Treadway, D. Myers, and we are out.